The Five Rings Podcast, Toronto 2015 Pan Am Edition with Duane Rollins and Kevin Laramie. Here's Duane Rollins.
And welcome back to the Five Rings Podcast. Day one of the Pan American Games, TO 2015. I'm Duane Rollins, along with Kevin Laramie in Montreal. Kevin, you have a little bit of housekeeping news that you need to tell the listeners before we get going, though. So why don't you go ahead and do that now?
After the last week of all our feeds going down because of a rapid feeds issue, it's being worked on. But for now, we have a brand new RSS feed, iTunes link, or Android link to any podcatchers out there. Go to any of our Twitter, CSN, Five Rings Podcast, USA Radio. You'll find the address. Or on iTunes, just look for OTW Studios. That's Off the Woodwork Studios. All the shows that we produce are now available on this same Sports Podcasting Network feed. We're over 6 shows weekly, some twice weekly, a lot of shows, so subscribe to it so you don't miss anything, and always look on canadasplaying.com and fiveringspodcast.com as well.
Yes, canadasplaying.com, of course, is launched officially on Friday. It had been up on a soft launch for about a month before that. That is your go-to place for all Canadian amateur sports news. Lots of Pan Am news over the days. I'll have the daily wrap-up, which will be a gold, silver, bronze sort of edition. It'll be slightly different. It'll be very Canadian-focused. The gold, silver, bronze wood medals that I give on the website. But on this show, as always, we will use that format during the major games to talk about our favorite 3 performances of the day, and the one that made us go, that would be your wood medal. So let's just get going on that. I think those that have listened to this long enough know exactly how this works. So I'll throw to you, Kevin, and you can start with your wood medal.
My wood medal happened the night before the spectacular opening ceremony. A pair of Canadian badminton athletes who were not almost guaranteed a gold medal, but they won the bronze in the last Pan Am. They were getting close to a gold medal, and in the run-up to the games, they were winning everything. Adrian Liu and Derek NG were forced to withdraw because they were scheduled with the Pan Am at the same time and a tournament that they thought was in September in Turkey, but they changed the date and it was the same date as the Pan Am. So unfortunately, when in the IOC rules, when you are booked in 2 events at the same time, well, you have to withdraw from both. So a big Canadian gold medal hopeful is out with Adrian Liu and Derek NG being disqualified from the Pan Am Games.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate bookkeeping error there as well. I'll give a bit of a wood medal to the IOC as well for that. I mean, come on. It's not the athlete's fault. It's their management's fault. And to make them drop out of both seems a bit pedantic, we'll call it. But at any rate, that's unfortunate there. My wood medal, if you listen to me talk about it, if you follow the Five Rings Podcast feed, you might have an idea of where I'm going with this. It's the bloody streaming on the CBC.ca and app. There's very limited opportunities. I mean, we covered the Commonwealth Games last year. We were able to do a fairly, see a lot of it based on the app streaming that was there, which was shared with the CBC. But for some reason, the Pan Am organizers have not made every event available to stream. There's a very limited amount. You counter that with the CBC broadcasting, like what they're showing on TV, and it leaves Canadians out to dry. We can't watch a lot of this live, even though it's in our own country. I
tried to watch baseball yesterday, Duane, and I couldn't.
There's no baseball on there. That's ridiculous. Why is this? It's a great tournament, too. Why is it not being shown? It makes no sense to me that they're choosing not to show it. It's like if they're worried about maybe selling more tickets, because they're blacking it out, then they're not going to sell the tickets because no one's going to see how great the competition is if it's not available to watch.
And not just that, it seems like they're not showing competition, and the ones they're showing, they're not necessarily having the best place for the camera, the best commentary, if any commentary. Image quality is not that great. There's a big drop-off from this year to what we were used to last year with Sochi and Glasgow.
Yeah, exactly. And even to go to the TV side of things, and I understand a bit of what TV does and why they do it, but I have it on right now in the background as we're recording this. It's about 1 o'clock. And there's a live rugby sevens game that's going on right now, a Canada quarterfinal game, so a game that would put them into a medal game. And they're choosing instead to show replays from this morning of diving. Why not show the live event when it's available to you? I just don't understand it. You could show this taped preliminary diving, which they want to show to preview the evening's competition, which will be their feature show of the night and the one that they will show live. So I get that they're going to show that. So but you could show that any time. You know what I mean, Kevin?
No, absolutely. And they could have shown it. Live thing on TV, live sport on TV is one of the only thing that is still drawing people on TV. Things on demand, they can watch whenever they want. So why put replay of the morning when they can actually watch the morning stuff online on their tablet, anywhere? But no, it seems like I don't put the fault on the CBC and everything because I heard it was actual organizers that are putting very difficult for the media right now in the Pan Am Games. So it's going to be interesting to see how all that unfolds and if the quality gets better over the days too.
Yeah, it's I don't get it at all. I just don't understand the logic. CBC is making the choice to show this live. And again, I talk about my mom and what she wants to watch, and that's why they're showing the diving right now. My mother likes diving. Diving is a sport that appeals to a broader audience than a lot of these sports. It's a sport that Canada is very successful in. It has one of the strongest fields in the Pan Am Games. It is a field closer to an Olympic field than many of the events. So that's why they're choosing to show it and feature it. And I think that that's the right choice programming-wise. But when you have another Canadian Olympic medal hopeful in the Canadian women's rugby sevens playing a live game right now, for God's sakes, show it. That is what we want. You can get it online, yes, but why? And I'm sure that they're taping it to show it in a block with the men's game from this morning, and I'll have more on that in a minute. But yeah, I just don't understand it. Anyway, we're rambling a bit too much. You know our point on that, and I don't want to dwell on the streaming issue, but it does make it harder for us. Luckily, I'm in the town, and I know that they're showing a lot of the events streamed on the big screen down at the Distillery District here in Toronto, which is a funky little area. If you're in Toronto, and you should get down there. It's a lot of fun down there. The concerts are down there as well. There's it's kind of lesser known names down there, but some of the ethnic acts like the Latin acts and all that sort of stuff are there. So it's fun times down there. But anyway, I'll move on and I'll talk about my something more positive in my bronze medal. That would be the Canadian and the Mexican diving rivalry in the Pan Am Games. I just was talking about diving there. The Canadians, of course, are very strong, have been for years, largely based on the program in Montreal, which is in the Olympic diving pool. So another one of those reasons why you want to have another world-class diving pool in this country that we'll have after these games, and the one that we're seeing right now. Mexico's now won 7 straight gold medals, 7 straight competitions at this tournament. Right now, this morning, 3-meter springboard suggests that Jessica LaBelle, which is a Montreal athlete as well, is primed to end that streak. With that rivalry between Canada and Mexico in these Pan Am Games is something to watch. Diving is one of those sports, one of those artistic sports that I actually do really like quite a lot. So I highly recommend that you tune into that. I believe the CBC will show the final live tonight, so that is some must-watch TV there, and I think you're going to see a Canadian gold medal to end the Mexican drought. But regardless, it should be a nice little fight in as I said, a field that is very close to Olympic standard. Obviously, the Chinese divers will have something to say about that at an Olympics. Some UK divers, English, or they're UK. It's GB divers. I always mix. I talk soccer. I talk soccer, guys. So I kind of get my Great Britons and my Englands mixed up sometimes when I'm talking show to show. So forgive me on that. But yeah, that said, we're talking about an 80% strong field in the Americas when it comes to diving. So by all means, go and watch that.
No, and they call themselves the Fab Four. If you talk about Roselyne Fillon, Megan Benfetto, Jennifer Abel, and I'm missing the last one. It just escapes me out in my head for the last minute ago. But they call themselves the Fab Four, and they're really 4 medal, if not gold medal hopefuls heading into Rio next year. At the platform, 3 meters and everywhere. It's an exciting competition, and it's an exciting time for diving. Even though we thought with Alex Despatie and that generation that moved out, Emily Amons, there is another generation that actually has taken over.
Yeah, especially the synchro events. Canada's very strong with synchro events on a world level, so we'll see those later on in this competition, but a lot of fun there. So let's throw to you, Kevin, and get your bronze medal performance of day one.
All my 3 medals are really Canadian focused today because, we're in Canada, Toronto 2015 Canada Games, Pan Am Games, but those stories are grabbing a lot of attention, and they're easier to gravitate towards. And if you're looking at the Canadian World Cup, the Women's World Cup that finished last week, John Herdman, the coach of the Canadian women's national team, is very implicated in the Pan Am team. Yes, it's basically the same team, but it's coached by his friend, and he's on the sideline. He's implicated, talking to players, setting up players, talking about strategy with the coach and helping doing change and all that. And I think his implication has to be merit because, yes, it's his program, it's his future, and if he wants to keep his job and keep the momentum going until Rio, especially with that group of women, he needs to be implicated. But it's always fun to see somebody go overboard, over the expectation, and really get implicated with the next generation of women's national team player. And it was fun to see him last night.
Absolutely. And what was your silver medal performance of these games so far, Kevin?
Another Canada medal. It's a silver medal. Ekaterina Gueka. She won the silver medal. While she lost the gold, or she won the silver. Depends how you look at it in combat sports and the gold medal fight. Well, in judo, she lost by Ippon after 57 seconds, but she still made it to the final, got a silver medal, and always like those medals in combat sport because, yes, Olympic sports are impressive, but combat sport has a little something different to it. Has a almost a danger aspect that not every sport, a lot of do sport have, but not every sport, little risk aspect to the sport that is makes it more the edge of your seat. And judo fight lasts sometimes 30 seconds to a couple minutes, but those 30 seconds you're on the edge, you're looking for strategies, technique, are they going to do Ippon and all that. It's very interesting, and I really like to watch those gold medal games. And it's still silver medal for Canada with a great medal tally after a day and a half. Great to see.
Yeah, leading the medal table so far. I think the U.S. will probably pull ahead and win that one, but I know that Canada has some high hopes. And they've sent, normally you get a bit of a B-team action at a Pan Am Games. Canada is, in many cases, because they're the host country, sending A athletes for this competition. You're seeing a lot of our top track athletes are going to be there, even though the World Championships are in August, which I'm sure you'll hear lots of coverage on the Five Rings podcast of in the lead up to that. There's so much sports going on, Kevin. But at any rate,
this year is crazy.
Yeah, the World Track is one of my favorite events, too, and I'm not sure what the TV situation is going to be like here in Canada, but I'm sure that there will be ways to watch that if I need to. Let's go to my silver medal, and it's the event I spoke to a minute ago, and I'm not sure why the CBC is choosing to not show live. It's the women's Rugby 7 team. Now, the men are the defending gold medalists in this. This is the first women's event for the Pan Ams, and I'm pretty sure Canada is, well, they're the fourth-ranked team in the world, so they're far and away. They were in the World Cup final in the full rugby Women's World Cup last year, so obviously a powerhouse in women's rugby right now is Canada, and this women's Rugby 7 team, I have a hunch that they are going to be the darlings of Rio for Canada, much like the Canadian women's soccer team was 4 years ago, well, 3.5 years ago now, or 3 years ago now. Let's get my years right, but you know what I mean, in London. They are.
You called it last year, Duane. If I remember, you called it Magali Harvey would have been the darling of Canada the next couple of years, and I think you'll be right.
Absolutely, yeah. She's bilingual. She's a fairly attractive young woman. She's very, very talented in what she does, and it's a great kind of story how she was discovered and found the sport late. And she's dominant in what she does. The best women's rugby player in the world right now, arguably. I think she's probably pound for pound better than what Christine Sinclair is world ranking wise, and we all know how much Christine Sinclair has become a household name here in Canada in the last 3 or 4 years. So I think that there's a real chance if they can get a gold medal in Rio, for sure if they get a gold medal, because there hasn't been a Canadian team sport gold medal since probably the '04 Olympics, I think, and I'm not talking about 2004, folks. Other than hockey, I'm talking summer. But
if it's summer, it's 1904. I think you're right.
Yeah, the soccer team, and that was that's a bit of an odd one because there were 3 American teams and 1 Canadian team in that tournament. So we tend to not talk about that event very much because realistically, it was a men's tournament that could happen anywhere in the world. But at any rate, there's a real chance there for a gold medal in a summer team sport, and that would be insane. They would be huge. Anyway, they are killing teams in this tournament. They won their first 2 games by 100 and some to 0. They are right now, I don't know the result because we're taping this, so I'll have to watch it on replay later, but I suspect that they're into the semifinals. They are the dominant team in that, and there's a lot to watch and a lot of love about that team.
Absolutely, Duane.
So that leads me to my gold medal performance, and it's also Rugby Sevens, which is an awfully fun event to watch, and it's a game specifically from this morning. The Canadian men, who I said are the defending champions, they are ranked 9th in the world, by the way, so a decent side. They're not necessarily medal contenders for real, but they'll be in the mix to get to a quarterfinals anyway. They were down 12-5 with no time left on the clock today to Chile. Chile was grotesquely underrated. They're not even on the World Tour. It was going to be a major upset. The crowd at Emo was going, oh my God, what's happening? The horn goes, and if you don't know the rules, what that means is they're out of time, and the next time the ball goes into touch, the game is over. So Canada's holding the ball at this point. What that means is they're down by a try and a converted try, basically. They had to not only score but convert the try, and they couldn't allow a single ball to go out into touch during that time. They went down the pitch, got onto about they were 3 yards away, and gasp. The Canadian guy, when he's going in for the try, drops the ball. Chile gets it. Ball's on their foot. Game over, right? No. Instead, for some reason, and this was a dreadful error, but it did lead to a lot of sporting fun, he booted it the entire length of the pitch, all the way back. Canada ran all the way back to the very other side, got the ball, managed to go all the way down. Now, keep in mind, Chile's on 2 yellow cards at this point, too, so it's 7v5, so Canada has a lot of advantages. So they managed to score a try from the entire other end after they had basically the game out of their reach, and all Chile had to do is kick the ball sideways to win. They then scored in the middle of the field, so they convert the try. Overtime starts. Canada again loses the ball. Chile looks going forward. They fumble the ball. Canada picks it up, bursts through the middle, try, game over. They came back from basically being dead to win the quarterfinals in advance to continue their defense of the gold medal. And that was everything that you love about sport tied into a 10-minute spree of pure insanity, brilliance that the home team ended up winning. That's my gold medal of the day.
Absolutely. It brings me to my gold medal, Duane, which is a double for Canada. A gold and silver tally on a mountain bike competition on the women's side, which Canada won with Emily Batty first, Catherine Peldron second. Emily Batty's got her qualification for Rio with that win, which is always interesting too, because whenever you win at the Pan Am, you're going to Rio. That's the end of the question. It's very, very interesting to watch. But Emily Batty and Catherine Pedrell at the Hardware Mountain Bike Center. All those name change venues, it's really hard to remember them, because now, even though I know Toronto and the GTA, they all change the name. Where's the Pan Am Dome, Duane? That's what I'm thinking.
That would be the Sky Dome, folks, or it has another name that I tend not to use, but at any rate.
But that's what I was trying to find out, if it's a Blue Mountain. I think it's in that area, Hardwood Mountain Bike Park. And it's very good for Canada to continue, because there's another generation pushing in the top 10, top 20. There's other Canadian, and Batty and Pendrell have been there for a couple of years. They're at the end, not the end of their career, but they have probably their last cycle of the Olympic cycle. Maybe Batty's got another one, but for Pendrell, it looks like it's going to be the last one. Continue to great result to finally get that gold medal. Probably she's been unlucky in the last couple of summer games. That would be very interesting. But that 1-2 on day one for Canada, I think it sets the stage for those games.
Yeah, and it's nice to be talking about it. It's another sport. The mountain biking is another sport that Canadians have been very strong in for years, and they've always had cyclists that have been spoken of as true Olympic gold medal favorites, and they've just never quite got that job done. Silver medal there a couple of Olympic games ago, but they just never got the whole thing done. So hopefully the Rio will be when that gets changed, and a nice little start today with that. A lot of great Canadian results in the first day, and this is a little Canadian-centric for this, and we do tend to go a little more international on 5 rings, and as I said, Canada's playing is where you'll get the Canadian-only focus. But, in the days ahead, you can expect some international coverage on this as well. I'm looking forward to my first event of the games tomorrow, Kevin. I will be at the beach volleyball venue. On Wednesday, Tuesday, I'm at the Gold Cup game, so I haven't got anything yet, but I may go do another day of beach volleyball if I can swing it, because it's right there anyway. Wednesday,
I might join you.
Yes, and Wednesday is the tennis finals for me, and I'm looking very much forward to that. And then Thursday I'm going to handball, and then we'll see what happens on Friday, because so far it's a lot. There's so much, it's overwhelming. You just look at every game and go, it's like a smorgasbord of stuff you can do. At any rate, on that note, Kevin, we are going to keep these a little tighter on the weekend, just because we have lives too, and I'm staring at an uneaten burger that I just got that I want to eat. So I'm going to say goodbye for today. We'll be back tomorrow with another daily episode of this, and we'll probably get our 2 saltines at tomorrow if you're a soccer guy, previewing the Gold Cup and all that sort of good stuff. Until that time, Kevin?
Until that time, subscribe to OTW Studios on iTunes. Go to 5rings.com, 5ringspodcast.com, CanadaIsPlaying.com, CanadianSoccerNews.com. Anywhere you like to get the shows. YouTube as well is functioning and updated every show now. So subscribe to our shows, get the word out, get people to find the show once again. The archives are still on the original individual feeds of all our shows, but the newest shows, until further notice, will be posted on OTW Studios. So subscribe, talk about it, tell your friends, rate and review on iTunes, but more importantly, enjoy the Pan Am Games.
Yeah, a real quick note, if you are looking to continue to subscribe individually, we are working on that. That'll get fixed, but I'll say it this time. Own your podium.